So, I mean, that's a whole other thing. We're actually on Iman, because that's really related to Sharia. And what I'll do, inshallah, is when we do the section on the last hadith, I'll open it up to talking about some things about Sharia. Because I think Sharia is definitely one of the areas where there's a lot of misunderstandings, misconceptions in this culture. People see it as very primitive law, and so I can talk about that and open it up to things. And another thing about the Islamic law is that there are many different opinions in the law. That the actual things that are clearly there's no debate about are not that many. Many of the situations there is an allowance for the intellect to understand and interpret the tradition. But if we go back to this idea, khayr and shar, human beings are taken into account for the good they do and the evil they do. The Quran says, لَهَا مَا كَسَبَتْ, for the soul is the good that it earned, وَعَلَيْهَا مَكْتَسَبَتْ, and against the soul is the evil that it has acquired. So we are taken into account for good and evil that we do in the world. The Muslims, the Quran is emphasizing the doing of good actions. Now, one of the words that it uses for this is hasanat. And the opposite is sayyat. Hasanat, the root word is beauty. In other words, there's an idea that a good action is a congruous action. It is a harmonic action. That a bad action is aesthetically unpleasing. It is cacophonic. It is ugly. That the human being by nature recognizes beauty and recognizes good. And this is the idea in the Quran. It says, وَهَدَيْنَاهُ النَّجْدَيْنِ, we guided the human being to the two roads of good and evil. That there is something inherent within the human being. Now, if you look at this in terms of the animal kingdom, when animals do something, we do not put moral judgment on it. If a snake bites and kills a child, we do not say it's an evil snake. I mean, people might do that metaphorically, but they don't. There's not a moral component there. It's simply being itself. And there's Rumi tells a story about the turtle and the scorpion and the frog. Right there at the side of the river. And the scorpion asks the frog, give me a ride across the river so I don't have to walk around. Or across the lake. The frog says, I'm not stupid. If I give you a ride, you'll sting me. And the scorpion says, that's ridiculous. Think about this. If I sting you, we'll both sink and drown. So the frog says, that makes sense. Takes him across. Halfway across, the scorpion stings the frog. The frog says, why'd you do that? He says, my nature. Right? So the idea then is that there is within the animal world natures that they cannot change. If a lion is hungry and it sees you, it sees lunch. It does not see you as, I'm going to do something really evil today. I'm going to go eat this poor person. It's just fulfilling its nature. When a human being eats another human being, right? Like that guy Dower or whatever his name was. Yeah, Dahmer. There's something we say that is sick. Why? What is the difference between the lion eating the human being and this guy eating the human being? The moral component. We say he should know better. That's a breach of the social contract. The person has gone out of its boundaries. And this is very important because in the Quran, there is an idea of hudud, of boundaries, and that the human being is morally bound to stay within the boundaries and not transgress them. And the word in Arabic for an evildoer is fasiq, which comes from a root word when the seed splits and it comes out of the shell. So the fasiq, the evildoer, is the one that splits the protective boundaries of the hudud. Now these are seen, the hudud of Allah, which are the sharia, the sacred law. These are seen as not simply arbitrary laws. Don't do this, don't do that. They are protective laws from the Muslim perspective. These are laws designed to maintain integrity within the society. When the Quran says, "La taqrabu zina," do not go near fornication. Why? It says, because it's a fahisha, it's a perversion, wasa'a sabila, and it leads down a terrible road. So the idea is that, look, this is not simply an arbitrary law. There are consequences that are related to this transgression that will have wretched effects in your culture and in your civilization.